As a parent, those are the things that you really want for your children. They don't have to be successful, make a lot of money, but I always wanted my children to be kind and compassionate. Yeah, and you're not agreeing with everyone, and there's times in a classroom where you have to have boundaries, but you have to gain the respect of the students that are there. And so I kind of took those skills actually in dealing with adults. And, I think when I was in a classroom, I always said to the classes that I had, you will probably rarely ever see me angry, but if you do, it's because you've been disrespectful of other students in the classroom, or you have made fun of someone. You don't have to like everybody in the classroom, but you need to respect each person in the classroom because everybody is a special person. I guess I always had a soft spot in my heart for kids who were struggling, whether it was behaviorally or academically or physically. I'll never forget one situation. It was my first day as an elementary principal when school opened. And I was out greeting all the kids, and, it's exciting and everything. And I get this call that I needed quickly in the office because there was a father that was very angry and upset. And I could hear him as I'm walking down the hallway, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't think I want to go in there. And I walk in the office, and he is probably 6'4", weighs probably 250, and I could hear him swearing. He was angry, and it was like, what am I going to do? Because that's a difficult situation to be in. So I just decided, I walked up to him and I put my hand out and I said, hello, I'm Mrs. Baugh, and I'm the principal here. And I think it startled him. I think he probably expected somebody that he was going to be able to be confrontational with. And I don't know if that works all the time, but it really actually worked for me a lot of the times. And that's when I realized I have to be able to be independent. And that's why I think I pushed so hard for my education, is that I just knew that if something happened, I needed to be able to take care of myself and my children. Having a goal is really important. And yeah, and sometimes I thought I couldn't look down the road too far, because if I looked too far ahead, it was overwhelming. So I just had to just focus. This is one quarter, and then there was the next quarter, and till it was done.
Small bites.
Yes. But I think if that's something you really want to do, um, even if it takes longer, you can do it if you just have that determination. And we both work together as far as raising our children. Um, and so I think that's really critical. When I was going back to school, he helped take care of the children and, made those sacrifices, worked extra jobs so I could get through. So that's really important, because sometimes that doesn't happen. And I think that's probably what's kept us together for 56 years. It isn't that we haven't ever had an argument by any means, but we've been able to support each other in those things that we wanted to do and trust each other. But I think when you're focused, you just do it. And I guess there's probably some stubbornness there. There's just determination. I've got to do this. This is expensive. We're making a big sacrifice, and I need to do the best job I can possibly do. And it worked.
Well, and just reflecting back, there's nothing
that I've shared, I think, that has indicated that woe is me and life is bad. It all works out because I like to think that I have choices and I choose to make it good. Life is good, and there's far more important things out there than the material things. And the people you meet and associate with, that's really important to me. And I feel so fortunate to have my friends that we have, my neighbor that we have, the other neighbor that helps out, plows his driveway and takes him to the doctor, and, an ice cream bar to your snow removal. That's pretty easy duty for me. So, but we do have choices, and maybe it's through athletics that some of that comes out, especially in cross country that I really enjoyed, track and field. When we hiked the Kill Chute Trail up Alaska and into the Yukon Territory, our second night out, we had a meeting with the park people, and they says, we have heavy rains and high winds coming. You should make a choice to either stay here or turn around and go back. And if you feel that you're physically able and ready to face the challenge of the weather, then you can continue. We will be at the first creek crossing to make sure you get across that. But you need to have the following gear if you're going to attempt that. Well, knowing the Type A people that we were together with, we went on. We had an inch of rain an hour. We had winds between 70 and 80 miles an hour. If we would have gone back, the boardwalk across the swamp area would have been washed out. But we could do it, and we could do it together. And that's what happened. It's the people around you that make you who you are. When I was younger, I'll say third or fourth grade, there was a classmate that really struggled emotionally, struggled academically. And once in a while during recess, there would be some unpleasant things happen to him. And I decided that I needed to be his protector and take care of him and make sure those things didn't happen to him. And so helping people, I don't know if that's what happened, but I guess I've always looked at helping those that needed help. And so that just carried on to little things, whether it's ice cream bars for a 100-year-old man or shoveling snow, or it doesn't matter. Well, all things are good. Not all problems can be solved, but you can try. I was ingrained that you needed to get a degree. Now, that's 180 degrees of what I would tell a young person today. You need to make yourself different and marketable and be yourself.
When I came to Seattle, I went to the Seattle Art Museum, and you go into the room where all the famous Seattle artists' paintings are, and it looks like it's raining. Most all the paintings are gray, value, and dark. Then you walk through the hallway into where the New York paintings are hanging, like Ken Noland and Helen Frankenthaler, suddenly Stella. Suddenly the walls are lit up like there's rainbows everywhere. It was very different. I thought, well, I grew up with the the sunny artists, you know, and in Seattle, most of the artists were in the rain. I mean, that's basically how I thought of it. And the harder you work at your work, the energy that you've put into the work is held in it and can be felt by other people. I don't know, when you're kids, you're just starting out, so you're trying to find your voice. But I think the more that you work, the more it becomes clear what your voice is. Where if you just have a canvas with one line on it, it's not much voice. But the more, say you want to draw something, and it's like a portrait that's, you know, bigger than life size, it draws people in. They want to see what you're putting down. There is something to having that many paintings around you all the time, because they're always giving off energy, and it's mostly positive energy. And some of the paintings, like if every time you look at it you feel some delight or happiness, usually I say, oh, that's a good painting. But if I haven't painted in a week, I can have a lot of trouble starting again. So I tell my students that look at your old painting, find the easiest thing that you could do first. If it's just the white, just start painting the white there. So by doing that, you're telling yourself, oh, well, you can't go wrong with white, right? It is hard to go into a painting that you stopped working on and feel like you can accomplish anything. Make it easy as easy as possible. Have a teacher. I loved the time I got to ski there, but then I had a brain aneurysm and now I don't have any balance, so I can't ski. But I still like to paint the trees. Like, I'm not aware of it every day that I almost died, but I am thinking a lot about how wonderful it is to be able to still paint.
I was born on the Colville Indian Reservation, a place called Owhigh Lake Flats. It was 50 below zero the day I was born. And life hasn't gotten much sweeter. It's been a roller coaster ride. Shortly after I was born, I was brought down to Nispelum, which is the center of the Colville Indian Reservation and the Indian Agency, and I was enrolled as a member of the Colville Confederated Tribes from the Wenatchee, Methow, Entiat, Okanagan bands. No, I got the name Kayachan. I said, Icha and Kayachan, Icha Eche Kayachan. Here is me, Kayachan. Kayachan means shot in the arm, named after an old warrior who was shot, received a wound in the arm, wounded arm, shot in the arm. He was a powerful medicine man. He was a good warrior. So that's who I was named after. And it was a special ceremony because they were having a ceremony at our house, and I walked right into the middle of the goings-on and the songs and the prayers that were going on. And I started talking in Indian, and then I was channeling this man named Kayachan, because the words that were coming out of my mouth were not my words. They were way too advanced for me, for a 4-year-old kid or a 5-year-old kid. Everybody remembered that moment. They sat me up on a chair, on a stool. They stood me up on a stool, and they blessed me off. And everybody there who heard it, everybody who was present knew whose voice that was, and it wasn't mine. And they all looked at each other and they go, Kayachan, Kayachan. My mom once told me something. She said, you know, and I passed it on to you, expressed it to you before. And all of you should hear what I say. When wake up, hear what I have to say. You know what a jigsaw puzzle is. You put together puzzles before. Now imagine yourself your family, as one of those pieces in that jigsaw puzzle. The jigsaw puzzle itself is a greater picture of the state of Washington, let's say. Your family's up here. And inside that piece, that jigsaw puzzle piece, there's 50 other little pieces, and you're one of them. Without you, though, that's an incomplete picture. Without your piece of that puzzle, it's incomplete. No one can really see or tell what that picture is, or have a complete idea of the value and the strength of that picture without your piece. So what you're doing here, I guess you could say it's a microcosm of what you're going to be doing in the future. You've got to start recording. People have got to take interest in their own family, in your own personal history, in your family's history, where you come from, what you do, and how that plays as part of that piece in that puzzle. One day you're going to be called upon to tell your story. Start doing it now. Start recording and keeping a journal now. If I was to leave one message with young people today, it's keep a journal. To keep a history, a personal history, a daily log, a weekly log of what you do. People you meet. Always value life. Always value what other people have to go through in life to get where they're at. Life is not easy. Life is not a given for everyone. So never take it for granted. Put your phone down every now and then. Put your media aside, your technology, and think about other people and how you can be a part of this world. As my dad would say, how to become a better citizen of this world. How to become a good citizen of this world. So be thankful, be mindful. Always be mindful of what you do. And life is a set of dominoes. We're all interconnected, one way or another.